Hey everyone, Brandon here from Caesar's Freedom Stead. So we're doing a little video here inside because it's just been raining a lot the past few days. Haven't been able to really get outside to film anything, to teach you anything, kind of show you what we're doing. So the reason why we're making this video is because we actually found some videos from the past in the place we used to live before this. And I want to show you guys that it's possible to pretty much grow everything in containers. Right now we have a big garden outside, in the ground, and we also do a lot of things in containers. So you see the eggplants containers and all kinds of things containers through our videos out here in our greenhouse area. So right now we're doing both of those, but in the past, at our last place, we actually just did everything in containers. And come to think about it, we did a lot better back then with those container growing. We did things a little bit differently back then, kind of making us think we're going to go back to doing everything in containers again. So just grow everything in containers. Let me go ahead and show you that video from 2016. So about 5 years ago, almost. 2016 October will be 5 years. So that's when we made this video. So go ahead and take a look. Hi, my name is Brandon. This is Lori. We just want to talk to you about container growing. Many people don't have much space in their backyard to go ahead and plant all their fruits and vegetables in the ground, so planting in containers I think is a much better advantage to having a small yard and planting a small amount of vegetables in that dirt. As you can see, almost everything that I do out here, me and my wife plant in containers. And we actually tried a little experiment of growing in the ground, and it seems like our dirt here isn't the best for planting. So like here, the tomatoes, they gave some, but they kind of just leveled off and didn't grow too big. But then you have these inside of our containers that exploded with growth and have all kinds of tomatoes growing all over the place. And most of our red ones we already harvested this week. There's a little shot of some tomatoes and bell peppers that we got today. But everything exploded in these containers. And I limit it to about 2 per container here. These are about 30-gallon containers. And what we do is we just go to the local store here, home improvement store, and we buy just normal soil for vegetables with some fertilizer in there. But we don't stop there. We also take rabbit manure, and we put rabbit manure inside of all of the containers mixed in with the dirt. And it seems to have explosive growth. And I know a lot of people like using chicken manure, and we use that as well in a different garden that I'll show you probably on another video. But right here, most of these are all rabbit manure and grown in containers, and we seem to have much better luck in containers than in the ground. Over here we have eggplants, all in containers. And they grow just as big, or maybe just a slightly smaller than the ones you see in the store. This one's almost a pound. I've grown one that was over a pound before. And all completely organic and natural. Don't need to put any kind of chemicals or anything on them. Just put them in a container. Find some space in your backyard or somewhere that has sunlight. And you'll be surprised at your results that you'll get just by growing in containers. You don't necessarily need any land to grow anything. Over here we have a bunch of bell peppers. These are the mini sweet bell peppers. We have a bunch of them here growing along. There's a normal one. And in this big container here, I have about 15 to 20 plants in this container. Now, a guy one time told me that I was doing this all wrong and that everybody is going to be feeding off each other and starving each other because they're all stuffed in this one container. But while he might be correct, we did it differently with the rabbit manure and spacing them apart, and they seem to do just fine. And we've been getting pounds and pounds of bell peppers every month through doing it this way. And it saves space. Instead of spacing them out all throughout the lawn and you get a good yield, here you space them about 3 inches apart and just put them in this container here, and they do just fine. Like I said, we get just as much or just maybe slightly more than the average plant when we do it this way as well. So there's really no advantage that I see to growing in the ground at this point. See here, we try to do a bell pepper in the ground and see how much smaller it only got. This is about 10 times smaller than the others. It is producing a bell pepper there, but the ones we do inside the container are just doing amazingly better. And we do it the same for everything. Here's one of our later tomato plants doing really amazing right now. Got whole bundles of tomatoes growing everywhere. Very large, nice sized tomatoes. I got a really big hand, so this is a nice sized tomato here. Nice bundles of them everywhere. And we just did the same thing with this. Just use some normal dirt from the store, put in some rabbit manure, and it's just exploding with growth. And this is October. This is mid-October. It's starting to get a little cool and everything's still producing a lot of fruit and vegetables everywhere. But I think it has a lot to do with the container. The container will also create some moisture inside there, keep moisture in there. I believe it keeps it a little bit warm when it gets cold. Here again is more bell peppers. We like to grow a lot of bell peppers. We eat lots of bell peppers, we cook with them, we give them away. So we grow a lot of them. Here again we have another container with a whole bunch of bell pepper plants growing in here. They're not starving each other, they're not doing badly, they're all producing really well. Here's one plant that has 3 growing right here on top. So they're doing really well. We have a jalapeno right here. We've picked most of them off. There's still a couple of them growing. But this was actually a volunteer plant. We didn't know that this was actually going to grow in here. We have a couple volunteers out here. There's another example here. Here's another one, has about 5 or 6 growing on him. He's not being starved by anybody. But we're saving lots of space and we're growing a whole lot more. Here's another one. There's 2 large ones growing off the front, a couple small ones. Yeah, isn't that right? Lori wants to talk too. And this is our oldest tomato, but he's still doing all right. He's giving us some, but they're not the best quality right now, just because he's old. We've had him since the beginning of spring. This guy as well, had him at the beginning of spring. He's still giving though. They're still producing, they're still flowering, and it's mid-October. I think it has a lot to do with the way we container grow, the fertilizer we use, the moisture, and the warmth that it keeps. And I think that's about it for out here. All right, so you see that? That is crazy, right? Me and Marina just got done watching that video yesterday, and we had an abundance of everything. Tomatoes grown out of containers. They were 100 times larger than we've ever grown out of the ground. Bell peppers, an abundance of bell peppers everywhere you see. I remember us not being able to fit it inside of the drawers inside of the fridge anymore, that Marina actually bagged it up and gave lots of bell peppers and things away to other people. So we had an abundance growing out of containers, doing everything. So the eggplants, you saw the eggplants on there. I was getting 1-2 pound eggplants off of those plants there in the containers. And one of the things that we did back then that we're actually going to start doing again now is we actually fed the plants rabbit manure, because it is really easy on the plant. It's not like chicken manure where you have to let it sit for a couple weeks or so it doesn't burn the roots. Rabbit manure, you could just take it right straight from the rabbits right when they drop it and put it on your plants and it'll grow like crazy. Everything grew enormous with that rabbit manure. And I think that's the only thing we really gave to the plants other than rainwater. And so everything was growing abundantly back then. And so we're actually going to go back to doing that. We're going to grow everything in containers. We're going to do some raised beds as well, but mostly containers. Abundance of tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplants, everything we grew in there, jalapenos. So everything that we could possibly need, we were growing out there in containers. So we just want to say, that's the proof right there. You don't need to plant anything in the ground. In fact, A lot of the stuff that we planted in the ground on that video didn't do very well at all, especially compared to what we were growing in the containers. So definitely grow everything in containers. Grow all your vegetables and fruits out of containers. They do awesome, and you can control what goes in there and what comes out, basically. Well, thank you so much. Hope you like and subscribe and enjoy this video. Other than that, we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.